Hi, Stephen and Shaun. Your comment on a recent episode about unfair compensation resonated with me. I have participated in numerous studies where I was only offered a gift card. The value of the card was usually between $10 and $25. I can understand if an individual self-funded their research that their resources would be limited. I fail to see why a large non-profit organisation can't pay people to do their research. Some non-profit organisations have the nerve of telling survey participants that they will be entered into a drawing for a gift card. So this means they expect people to donate their time. Yet this organisation sends out begging letters about the value of their research and that the work they do makes a difference in the lives of blind people. These letters are written in a very emotional format to elicit sympathy. It's an example of doing something for us and not with us. Considering the high unemployment rate in the blind community, they could at least send a positive message by valuing us enough to provide financial compensation. Would a sighted person work merely to receive gift cards to buy things they don't want or need? To add insult to injury, these organisations send out their fundraising letters in print. Some of the worst offenders are guide dog schools. They send us pictures of dogs we can't see. I remember when I was growing up that the Library for the Blind in the US state in which I lived sent out a print calendar with pictures of guide dogs for each month. How insulting. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I think this is a major issue. We got to address this. You know, this is a big issue that there's a lot of charities that do things in our name, but not necessarily with us at all. And you know, that's a great example of it. Now you can say, well, okay, they're trying to get money for guide dogs in this particular case. The example there, you know, so they give out these printed calendars and whatever. But you know, again, who are you actually working for? What is the purpose of your organization? You know, I can't understand why this is difficult when you think if you take the word blind out and you replace it with any other gender or ethnicity or whatever you can think of, you wouldn't be up in arms about these decisions.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. Like with a printed guide dog calendar, of course, look, you know, for the general public, the draw in, if you like, is the look at the cute little puppies. Right. So, I mean, you could argue that the guide dog organization is targeting something that they will know will bring in the general public. Right. But it depends who that, obviously, if that calendar's targeted towards its clients, then that's absolutely ridiculous. But if it's targeted to bring in funds from the general public, it makes total sense.
But hang on. Here's the question to follow up to that, which is who are the general public? So is the general public only sighted people? Only non-disabled people?
Well,
is that who the general public is?
In this example, yes. Yeah.
Is that what you think the general public is?
Yeah,
are we not general public? Are we not part of that?
Well, no, not in this example. Not in the case of if they're trying to... I mean, we would be service users rather than the general public. I mean, I know what you're saying. Yes, of course. We're not...
Well, what I'm saying is that the clients are one thing, but... What I'm saying is if you're eliciting funds from people for charitable work, is it only sighted non-disabled people that can put their hand in their pocket?
Okay, what merchandise from the guide dogs would you pay money for?
It's not about buying merchandise. I'm saying if you're trying to market to me, if you're saying to me, give money to my organization, are you only reaching out to people who are non-disabled? Is that who you think?
Yes, because they think we have no money.
Put money. That's exactly it. They think that blind people are never going to put money in. And it's like, you know, there's lots of people out there who are blind, who are earning good money, who might want to contribute. Who might say, hey, do you know what, I'll pay money. No,
we're pushing the point there.
No, absolutely
how often do we say about the employment stats here? Look, the truth of the matter is how much of funds do come from blind people when it comes to those sort of organisations. A lot of blind people don't have the money spare as much as they would like to. They just don't.
Yes, that may be true, but there are also many people who will. And those people...
Many?
I mean, I was at the NFB convention in God knows whatever year it was, and I met so many blind lawyers. You telling me that they're all on a pittance of wages?
So many,
I don't
of course.
think so.
Yeah, I can't move around here for all the blind lawyers.
You should hang around an NFB convention. There's plenty of them, I'll tell you. You're looking for a lawyer, you'll find one there. You know, and that was the point. And there were accountants and there were people in employment, right? I'm not saying that there's no blind people out there working. That's a myth.
I do, I totally understand what you're saying, but I can just see from the general rule would be that if you're trying to raise funds, then a lovely fluffy guide dog photo is gonna do it for most people. I just think that's fine. But when I come back to your general point there, you're right about the and we keep saying this, right? Something that keeps coming up, and again, it seems like a change in direction. Putting value on what we do. I'm not talking about us. I mean us as a community and what we're able to offer. And I think you're right. If we're doing research, if we're doing studies, you know what I'm sick of? The times I used to go to the eye hospital and, is it okay if someone comes in to have a look at you? And you say, okay, yeah, it's fine. A trainee wants to look at my retina to see the signs of RP. Absolutely fine. But if that turns into 30 minutes and then a whole gaggle of people coming in and then I'm moving to another room and having an eye drop to dilute my pupils so they can have a better look, I'm sorry, that's my time. I'm not here, as a prop. And I think there should be something in that. We do need to put value on us. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, and look, that's Dan's point, right? Is ultimately
no, absolutely. I agree with him.
And what we're talking about here is, an organization that is on one hand, eliciting funds for its work. But then when it comes to blind people, enter into a prize draw to win a gift card for your time. It's like, really? It disgusts me, frankly. It disgusts me that it happened. No, it does. Because it's like internships, it's the same kind of thing, and I know that's a common practice as well. It's like tipping. You go to a restaurant and you tip because, the restaurant owner can't be bothered to pay his staff an actual wage. So it's left up to everyone else to pay the wages on his or her behalf. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. And it's the same across the board on all of these things. If we're doing a job, we should be paid for it. And I would actually say to any blind or disabled person who's asked to do these things, say no. Just say no. Unless you're paying me, no. Because, look, are you telling me that the people sitting in that room, whatever it is, they're not getting paid?
Okay. Let me throw a wrench into this then. What about what's it called? The AIM Web Survey.
WebAIM survey, yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about the lack of response in the last one. I think it was the last one. Where, the numbers were pretty low with people who got involved in that. So the stats on what screen readers people are using, what browsers, things like that. Are you saying people shouldn't take part in that, and in fact, they should be paid to take part in that?
I think a survey is different. It's an optional
it's not
choice.
Black and white. That's right. No, I agree with you. I don't think it is.
And it's a public survey, right? This is something that goes out. We get public surveys all the time and all kinds of things. I think you choose to, what I would say, my argument at the time was, look, I'm not saying every blind person in the world should take part in it, but at the same time, we can't really be serious about the results of it if the numbers are so low.
If we don't take part in it, exactly.
We have to get involved in some way. But again, that's a choice thing, right? But if you're going to an organization or perhaps coming to you and saying, I want your advice, I want you to come to this place, and oftentimes that's how it works. It's not just a thing you do in your spare time.
That's the thing for me. I think you're absolutely right.
You're going to an
amount
event
of effort involved.
I was asked to do, I won't say the organization, but I was asked to do something for an organization. It involved quite a hefty trip out of town that would, take me away for an overnight. And I was told that my train fare would be covered, but the hotel wouldn't.
Yes.
And I would get my, whatever it was, $50 Amazon gift card for, showing up. And I thought, I've got to weigh this up. That's 2 days I'm not here. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. And getting on a train and going south and doing all that stuff, that's quite a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And you want me to do this for $50? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And, and I understand people say, well, you can't complain if you're not involved. I get that. But equally, there has to be a value placed on our work. And if I was doing this and again, it's like everything else. It's like if a really small organization, and I've had this before, I've had organizations with very limited budgets. I know they have very little money. I know the people who work in the organization barely make a living themselves. They come and ask for help. I'm happy to help, right? I make that decision. I say, do you know what? I'm going to help you because that's okay.
That's personal choice though, right? And I think that's what it always comes down to, personal choice and not feeling guilt-tripped into anything.
So I remember back when I attended Microsoft Ability Summit, first and only time. Not bitter and twisted about that at all. But they offered to pay me. They offered to pay me some money to be there, and they said, "Look, this is your fee essentially for turning up." And I said no at the time. And the reason I did that was because I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to take money for my appearance. I wanted to be objective, and I wanted to continue to be able to talk objectively about Microsoft and the work I do. So it didn't feel right for me to take money.
Hang on, was this offered before your appearance or
Yes.
afterwards?
Oh,
right.
It certainly wasn't offered afterwards. I think if it had been offered afterwards, they'd have said, "No, you're all right, thanks."
Okay, yeah.
And the point I'm making is that there was a choice there, right? I made a choice. I said no because it didn't fit into my values. It was better for me to turn up as an independent person and feel comfortable continuing to be independent and not feel like I was being paid by Microsoft to speak about anything.
Yeah, but surely you can still, accept a fee and still be independent and objective.
Well, that's a choice for the individual. And the point I'm making is that Microsoft gave me that choice, right? They said, "Well, look, we'll pay you." And I said, "No, thanks." But the point is there was an offer made.
Yes.
That's what we want. That's where we want to get to. And I think
agree.
it's really important that, huge organizations, especially like them, I expect that. I don't expect to get everything, or them to get my lived experience. I hate that phrase, but that lived experience, as they always call it, for free. Because, if it's valuable to you, it's valuable to you. And in my case, that's dollars.